that sound in a long time. Recording in progress. How are we all doing? How are we all doing? It's been a while.
Recording in progress.
I missed it. I missed it. Boys are back finally.
Summer.
About goddamn time.
It's been like 2 months. It's been 2 months actually since we finished school, and I think that's probably the last. It's been like a month and a bit since we last recorded the podcast. I mean, at least we've got like a little bit of time to just speak about what happened during that 1 month and a half and recent things that have surged on the internet that we might speak about in this podcast. That might get the podcast removed, but at this point, I don't really care. And that topic, you probably can tell from the title, it's probably going to be Andrew Tate. He's this guy that's just randomly appeared on the internet around just randomly, and now he's literally everywhere. Even Snapchat, Instagram, you scroll 3 times, you see a picture or video of this guy saying something outrageous, and you see the comments of the outraged people, especially women, in the comments that they hate this done, and then also men as well, that like this is it's kind of a 50-50. I've seen 50% love the guy, 50% hate the guy. What are your opinions on him?
He's a
I mean, to be fair, the first time I encountered him was watching the Fresh and Fit podcast. You know that, I mean, the Fresh and Fit podcast.
Yeah. That podcast.
Yeah. And when he was talking, I just thought he was a loser, honestly. And this was like way before he was like mainstream. So like, I don't know. And then he started like getting in my feed a lot more frequently. I'm like, who is like, are you really talking about this guy right now, this loser? So I don't know. I just laugh at him. He's pretty funny. He has a good sense of humor. And like you can kind of see clips of him where he's like out of character. Like you can tell that he doesn't truly believe everything he's saying, but no, he's a funny guy, some hot takes, interesting opinions, you know.
I mean, I thought he was just like, I remember seeing his first one was about, he's went on a podcast or something, and he was talking about some women, and he was like, one of the people asked him what, like, if he had a woman that was totally compliant, and this guy was just sitting there like, bitch, I wish to God you were a robot and stuff like that. I was like, this guy is an absolute nutter. He was like, the other one was like, I have many concurrent relationships. I was like, he's just actually funny, like, because people actually believe that he's this actual nutter, like this nutcase, like when he's just playing a character. It's just so funny, man. But I mean, he does give rise to interesting topics now and then. So, what do you guys think about that?
Should we get a clip up of like him saying some stuff?
I'll put a clip. Should we get up now? Because I was thinking of just putting it
right now.
Cool.
You have to keep things realistic. No. Years ago, natural selection and evolution would have taken care of all your fucking retard ancestors, but yet here you are, standing in my face saying you don't eat gluten. Yes, you fucking do. Only a cat-owning bitch would complain to the police about a fucking joke. Fine, you're upset you lost your cat. Fair enough, yeah, the joke may have been a little bit, risque. Who calls the police on a fucking joke? Cat owners. Cat owners are liberals. Cat owners believe in hate speech. Cat owners are Democrats. Cat owners are dickheads. You look like a bitch. No, I'm not like these fucking mask wearers. No, I walk into hell and the devil's like, oh, I'm gonna burn you. So you ain't gonna do shit. I find myself super funny.
No, wait, yeah, can we pause this right
I find myself super funny.
No, how could anyone?
We've heard enough.
How could anyone take this guy seriously?
It's too funny, man.
How could anyone actually take this guy seriously?
Oh,
he is funny.
He's funny. That's the main thing, yeah.
He thinks he's funnier than he actually is. Like, I'm laughing at him not because he's funny. You get me? But no, it's funny just like him speaking just with no filter. It's hilarious. Yeah. It's refreshing to see something like that.
His marketing is top notch because he knows exactly what he's doing. The more outrageous things he says, the more clips are going to be made of him and the more publicity he's going to get, and hence more money he's going to get from his business and other things there. So like, I think he 100% knows what he's doing, and that's what I can like appreciate about him. Of course, like most of his stuff is outrageous. Like, to be fair, most of the clips that you see of him is him just saying like outlandish stuff. Like if you actually search up like his advice on like building wealth, or like probably not the relationship ones because those are a bit those are a bit mad as well. But his advice on like building wealth, like rites of passage as a man and stuff, like those are, they're a little bit more insightful than these clips of him just saying random, not nonsense, but like stuff for the camera, doing stuff for the publicity.
No, shut up, bitch. Sex.
Okay, fantastic. But yeah, that's my main opinion on him. I rate his work ethic. I rate that he's a 4 times world kickboxing champion. That's mad. Like, I have to respect someone that's got a world championship.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one you can't. You can't really fake that as well. Like, it's just what it is. Like, he's actually a madman in the ring. But yeah, controversial outtakes, of course. But you know,
Yeah.
as long as people see that, it's like, you know.
I think he kind of, it sounds mad, but I think he kind of deserves this arrogant like persona, because like from what I've seen, he's done everything. Like he's got at least 500 million from his companies, everything he's done. He's got this name, which Bugatti. So anytime you say hate on him, he's like, what color's your Bugatti? And he's like, which one? It's crazy. So I think he kind of has that backing to have this attitude. But the main problem is that he's kind of preaching this attitude to like 99% of the population, which can't even, especially the relationship stuff. Like if you act on the way he like navigates relationships, you will be single for the rest of your life. You probably get a child as well, doing something else. But yeah, especially that's the main thing that people I think have a problem with. And I low-key agree with it with a boy, because the life he's living compared to the vast majority of people that watch him, they can't even comprehend. And maybe some things he says can actually pass because he's in a position where like he can do what he wants at this point. So like, and we can't do that.
He's what they would refer to as a high value man. You know, he's
A high value man.
He's in the top 0.5% of earnings as an individual. So like
that's why he calls himself the top G.
Top G.
The top G. Yeah.
He's in that section of people that they don't operate the way modern society operates. They operate how they want to operate, and the way he wants to operate is having as much money gets him whatever he wants, you know. So like, you got to take everything he says with a pinch of salt. Like, can't take him too seriously. That's why I just laugh at him, you know, not keep him pushing.
Yeah, but like, I get why people support him in a sense though, because like, I get why people are like, instead of hating, you can be on your thing as well, because he always has this thing, as I said previously, what color's your Bugatti? So like, I see a lot of people like putting bare hate on him, but like sometimes I feel like maybe it's out of envy. Of course, sometimes what he says is a bit outrageous, but more time, if you're like really like confident, really like, not even arrogance, it's probably arrogance at this point now. If you're really confident in like what you do, you're going to attract people that oppose it. And not even to the level of Andrew Tate. I feel like that's just something that you experience in general. So I think that's where the majority of his hate comes from, because like, he knows himself, like no one can shake him off his like frame. So I think that's where the critics come, because they understand that they can't get to his head, because he doesn't care. Like he doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's a point where getting cancelled doesn't really scare you. Like, if all your, you know, finances, everything's secure, then like there's nothing, like who actually gives a shit. You know what I mean? Like, they take your job away, but you're like the business owner. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So it's like, why, like for example, like who if someone had that amount of wealth and that the power and ability to do so, who wouldn't speak their mind because they can? Like, you know.
That's true.
Yeah, it's kind of like Dave Chappelle in the sense, like Dave Chappelle gets the most shit on Twitter for his remarks on transgenderism and whatever, but like at the same time, he's still on Netflix. I'm pretty sure he released a special this year, even after whatever happened last year. He, you know, making jokes about transgender people, and obviously people aren't happy about that. But at the same time, like, he's still doing his thing. No one's taking him off the throne, and obviously people are angry at like Netflix and that for still putting him up. But ultimately, there's people that can't be stopped at the moment. I mean, you could try and stop him, but you can't do much at this point. So they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. And Andrew Tate is one of those people.
I think he provides an example of like how a human would act if they had like no limitations. Because I guarantee the people that hate on him the most would probably like act in that arrogant sense if they had that same level of power, money, like influence. Like I think power gets to most people, and especially like I saw this thing, what people say in news like a direct reflection of themselves. So like they're probably envious of that guy because he can't get to that position. You get what I mean? So I think everyone has that capacity to be this arrogant like guy that's on his stuff, but they just don't have the facilities at the moment to express that personality without being without getting criticism because they're just not there.
For sure.
Yeah. True. I was thinking there was a topic inside of that I wanted to talk about. I can't remember what it was. Off of Andrew Tate. Oh yeah, no, it was that you know that trend in the last like couple of years of those you know all the shorts you get on YouTube about the grind set mindset stuff like that. There's really there's ones about
like
do this to get
yeah those ones like the 60 I get what you mean
you know those guys on YouTube and stuff speaking about how to accumulate wealth, and you know the ones where they talk about they speak for like 2 minutes but they don't actually say anything, but people just take care and listen like big advice, bro, big advice. They drop that passive income, big advice, or they'll be talking about how to make money quick, and they'll just be talking about you got to surround yourself with good ideas. You got to be humble. You got to keep at it, and it's just all that the rise of the internet wealth scammers.
I hear that. It reminds me of this topic like where there's like different levels to like improvement. So you have like the stuff that's just like for show, like the stuff that anyone can do. Like someone can buy a book or something and they feel like they're already improving, that false perception that they're actually doing something. But to actually apply, like there's different levels. So I feel like that's the base level. But most people don't reach the second level where it's actually application. Because more time, like have you heard of someone getting rich off those 2-minute videos that you see on YouTube? Like no, it's not happening. Most people get rich from actually consuming the books that they don't even recommend. Like you get, I mean, you have to go through different sources to get that information. So I feel like it's a good place to start because I felt like there was a point where I found inspiration in those kind of videos, but then obviously I transitioned into like the more practical side. But if you're first starting off, I think they have some value, but if you're just using that as your sole source of like information and like inspiration and motivation, it's don't do that. It won't help you in the long run personal experience.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into like a trap of you see something, you just try and do it right away, and then you just fall down instantly. Like I had a thing where like I tried to make an investment, let's say, and it made me stressed for a couple months because I wasted a heap of money on this thing. I eventually like broke even, but like I realized that it's not for me because I tried something which was well out of like my.
Hold on. I've got a question. Please tell me it wasn't Bitcoin.
It was not Bitcoin.
Okay.
No. I've only just turned 18, so I haven't been invested in cryptocurrency.
It wasn't NFTs either, was it? Please.
No, I'm not gonna say what it was.
Okay.
Might be investing in some like illegal. I get what you mean.
But no, it's those things that you could apply it to that. It's like people see NFTs like, oh damn, people are making this much money off NFTs. I'm gonna buy an NFT. And then you're just ending up being the broke person who spent all this money on the NFT whilst other people are making money off of you investing. Like
that's exactly.
The primary investors are the people that make the most money. Then everyone who sees the primary investors making money go ahead and invest and lose money to those primary investors. So basically, by the time a good idea gets to you, it's probably too late.
Yeah,
it's also like something called a speculative asset as well. Like the reason that it's such high price is because people just demand it because the other person demands it. Like it's essentially as simple as that. Same thing like with Bitcoin as well. The reason it's so high is just because everyone demands it because the other person demands it.
That's why it's so volatile because like there's no regulations. Like where with an NFT, it's like the only reason an NFT is worth anything is because other people think it's worth something. As soon as someone thinks it's not, then it's worth nothing. You know.
Yeah, I think
Like,
that's what happened with the housing
yeah,
crisis, and then we're getting into econ here. We're getting into econ here, but it's like wrote a
No, I
cheeky
know
little
nothing.
bit about this on my personal statement or something, like the speculative asset bubbles, like when they, it's like they just overvalue something because the other person says it's just socially deemed as something you have to purchase, so everyone else buys it for no reason whatsoever. It's just like one of them things. Like you see all those like millionaires and stuff talking about, oh yeah, go purchase my NFT, or like get this, pump all my money into Bitcoin and stuff, when they're just trying to drive the price of it up so they make more profit. Yeah.
that brings our
It's
argument
kind
at
of
the end
like
of the day.
how,
It's just like power. That's the foundation of everything. Because once you have like influence, people will just follow you. Like, it's the human condition, and I think we've all been subject to that to some degree. Like, if we like rate like an individual, we'll just like listen to what they say without like, we'll obviously think about what they're saying, but compared to if it's like a random stranger, we're not gonna like think things through. We're not gonna think things through as effectively as we would normally. You get what I mean?
yeah. I was gonna say it's kind of like how whenever Elon Musk tweets something, the stock of whatever he's tweeting about, the stock of Twitter will change and the stock of Tesla will change. It's like this guy has so much power in his hands, which is unprecedented. It's like, it's just so weird how like things are so volatile because of something so abstract,
I hear that. So like one thing I also saw as well, like the crypto and like NFTs, 90% of people investing in them are like under the age of like 30. And like you have to realize that when you're young, you don't know anything. Like you do know stuff, but compared to when you're older, and actually compared to the people that have spent years in the industry of like currencies and stuff, you know nothing. And I think that's why it's so volatile, because the second like it drops by like 0.01p, people are just like gonna flood out because they don't want to lose any money. But again, I think that's what I saw this thing as well. That's what the actual main people that create Bitcoin are trying to do. So they either like remove a lot of the stock out of, no, they pump in a lot more stock, or like they drop in that they sell a lot more of Bitcoin, I think. And then so that drives the price down. So anybody that's like an unserious investor will just leave because they're losing money. And the actual people that have a lot more money that don't care about that money that they have in the portfolio will remain. And that's, I think, what they want. But I could be just chatting from that, but that would make sense because these like crashes of it going up and down has to be influenced by something, and I think it's the main people that made it in the first place.
These people are under the radar, by the way. I'm not sure who exactly, well, no one's sure who created Bitcoin. I think it's like some Japanese guy, and he has like a code name, and he's just gone under the radar with all his millions. And it's kind of like the people with the most money in the world, you just don't really hear about, or at least most of the people with better money in the world you don't hear about. Like, I think I heard something. It's like there are like 4 or 5 people in the world that own like everything, but you don't know who they are, and it's crazy how much stuff goes just under the radar completely.
I forgot what company. I think I know, like there's like a company or like a family that owns like everything. I think that's the thing you're referring to as well. That's mad though, because more time they have influence over like, or like, as much as we like to think we have like free will and stuff, we have been conditioned to some degree by everything. And if they have power over governments, power over companies, power over advertising, media, then as much as we like to think that we're free thinkers, we have been conditioned to a degree where like you kind of have to uncondition yourself, because most of the stuff they preach to you is, can't lie, it's just to suck your money, like to take your money.
Right.
Like if you deep it, like okay, let's say you go to uni, you're going to uni to get a better job for the people that have the companies, so you can get more money for them. You get what I mean? And you're putting more money back into the institutions. You man good, because I swear, if I can like show everyone just flip you man flexing, I can change the screens now. Yeah, anyone wants to contribute to the conversation?
Bro,
it's just a late night mog is what it is.
Yeah, late night mog.
10 side.
That being said, bro, we need to go to the gym together time.
Yeah. We need to.
That needs to happen. Muggers
Don't ask me to come to a deadlift session though.
Oh,
You don't
deadlifted.
deadlift.
You've never deadlifted.
I've never deadlifted in my life. Like never.
Never deadlift.
Deadlifted once, but because the sole of my foot just like curves up. Because I don't know. I think it's like some weird early onset arthritis or something from my mum's side.
Alright.
It's just cold. My foot just curls up. I don't know why. So
Okay. Now,
is there any way to solve that? How does that affect your squatting?
I don't know. I mean, because with squats, I only train hypertrophy. I don't really train strength. So I used to train strength when I started off, but then I was I don't know, some mental risk, fear of getting a hernia or something. Loading up, I started just doing safer.
Your rack is a bit like it's shaky as well. So like it's so.
No. I mean, the thing is, the rack can actually take like 300 kg. Like, so it's actually like, yeah, you can take like 300 kg, but I don't know, it's just me. I've never wanted to, because I like squatting heavy, but I don't know, just the risk of injury more. So I just train for hypertrophy. But I still do squats, obviously, but it's just, yeah, upper body is my strength. But I try to change strength and hypertrophy upper body, so I don't know.
Yeah, typical gym lad, just looks like a Dorito up top, but you got chicken.
You just said you had small legs. I wouldn't have that, man. I would not.
No. Squat. You can't be having chicken legs, man. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk.
What's your squat max, bro? What's your squat?
I haven't tested my squat max. That's what I'm saying.
I bet you bench more than you squat. How?
No.
You bench like 110 or something, so like that's pretty decent.
No, I think I can bench 110. So I've done 100 for 3.
Yeah, you can bench 110.
So I think
105 at least.
How much do you squat?
My working sets now, I like 98 reps arse to grass for like 5 sets.
Okay, that's pretty good. I say like 140, 150. I feel like that's your warrant max. 150.
No, because things, I don't know,
because it's ATG as well. That's like another, so maybe even like 160, 150 to 160.
No, because I'll be honest with you guys. Yeah, yesterday was the first time I hit legs in 2.5, maybe 3 weeks.
You're gonna get slander in the comments from legs.
This is the biggest meathead conversation we've ever had on this.
We've never actually talked gym though. That's the thing. We never talk gym.
Yeah, I talk about it enough to be fair though. So if you're watching this, I rate you because I speak about that all the time. But
you're just gonna see the female views decrease on this one.
Drop some steep decline.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, because I've been. The thing is, I still walk like 5 days a week for like what? At least I try for like 5K every time, but so 3 to 5 times a week. But it's just, yeah, man. I need to start hitting legs more because it's just a like spiritual repentance, man. That leg day, it's just you start seeing stars.
Like COVID. To be fair, like once you lift heavy after like a tough set, I just feel nauseous. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. On the last step, coming up, you feel like it's good though because afterwards you feel gas. Like
not after leg day.
After you recover, not after you recover though. After the set, you feel like I did that because after you squat, you just feel. I don't know. Maybe there's some like science linked to it, but I just feel like strong. If I bench, I'm like, it's cool. But if I squat, I know like, okay, I'm strong now. You get what I mean?
I get you. Yeah, man. It's just, I don't know. It's just something psychological. It's just the gym just has you because it's actually a mindset.
Yeah.
Like when you go in, like just fuck up being, I feel tired. Like when you because when you visualize yourself just pushing that weight up whatever motion you're doing, yeah. If you can push through any like any fatigue or something. I mean, given that if you've been sleep deprived for like 2 weeks, you're gonna be a bit shit, obviously. But I'm just talking about when I don't feel like it, that nonsense.
Yeah,
it's literally a mindset.
Yeah, that's another thing I want to speak about. Is I feel like 90% of things are mental. 90% of things are mental because more time your body reacts to like how you perceive, like how you think. So like it takes the placebo and like a lot of drugs when they're tested. If the patient is told that, oh, this drug is gonna have this effect, the patient's actually gonna feel that effect, if no matter like what's actually in the pill that they're given. And that, I think that translates into everything, not even physical stuff. So let's say you actually want to like achieve something. If you like believe that you've not already got it, but like you will get it, you're gonna do more actions that are in line with what a person that is in that position would do, if that makes sense. So like people think that, okay, I have to get to a point and then I have like the mental aspect of it. But I think that you have to have both. You get what I mean? Because you're not gonna do the things that the top G would do if you don't feel like you could be a top G. You get what I'm trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say?
No, yeah, I mean, as a pole vaulter, there's a phrase that people say, pole vaulting is 90% mental and the rest is in your head, because it's incredibly difficult to pole vault if you're. Wait, did you hear that?
The fuck was that? What was that? Someone fall down the stairs. What? What was that? Nuts.
It's my dad being crazy. No, it's like he's watching female football. I don't know what's going on there. Hey, my dad gets into it, bro. I remember there was a time we were watching, like, I was sitting down watching darts because I like watching random sports at times. You know, I watch snooker or some. But like my dad was watching darts. I was watching darts. My dad came downstairs and he was like, "What are you watching?" And the next night, this guy was sitting down watching it with me. Yeah. By the time we got to the final, this guy was screaming at the TV. I'm like, "Dad, calm down. You don't want your cholesterol to get too high on this." But no, my dad gets way too invested in things. So I just put female football on the TV. I think he's screaming at that one now. But as I was saying, pole vault. You can't commit to pole vaulting without having that mental toughness, because it's so dangerous that your brain, as you're running down the runway, if you're not 100% sure that everything's gonna go right, everything's gonna go wrong, you know. So like you have situations in pole vault and in other sports, kind of like gymnastics, where people have mental blocks where they cannot perform because they don't have the confidence. For example, Simone Biles, she pulled out of the 2020 Olympics because she had this thing called the twisties, which in gymnastics basically means like you're in the air, you're tumbling, but you don't know, you can't sense where you are, like you can't orientate yourself. And without that, you just can't perform. Like she would probably run up to try and do a backflip and she just mentally couldn't do it, not because she's not capable, because we all know she's one of the greatest athletes full time, but because her mental wasn't backing up her physical. So it's very important to understand the link between your mental and physical performance, you know, to eke the best out of yourself.
Well said. Yeah, and I feel like even I've been subject to this as well. Most people like try and develop their physical aspect first without developing their mental aspect. I mean, to be fair, those can come in hand in hand, because I've seen like mental or confidence boost from training physically. So maybe they come in hand in hand, but people often like don't focus on the mindset. They focus on like the more practical side of things, which is fair because the mindset is more kind of abstract and more like harder to improve, I think, than just going to the gym and like or practicing the sport. So it does make sense.
Yeah, man. What do you guys think about like to the mental side? There's another side of you know, people say like, I mean, this can apply to, you know, I'm using it for the gym, but you can use it for like anything, like any sort of practice or whatever. You know, when you say you don't feel like it when you do it. I'm not talking about you don't feel like it as in I'm not feeling it, not as in laziness, but when you lack an energy to do it. Like, you know, them times when you go into the gym, about you say I'm a bit tired today, you're feeling a bit sluggish, and you say, oh, if I skip this day, what's going to happen? What do you guys think about trying to get through those feelings?
Those are difficult, yeah.
I mean, I feel like I think Tammy said it before. It's like doing something is better than doing nothing, you know. And the days that you don't want to do it most are like the most important days for you to go ahead and do it, because like you can't just sit back and say, "Oh, what's one day?" Because if you do that for every day of the week, guess what? You've done nothing a week, you know. So, you know, like I'm not gonna say that I do it, because if there's a day that I don't feel like going to the gym, I won't go. But I guess the right thing to do is just push through it, go through the motions that you know you're supposed to be doing, because you know consistency is what makes you perform best.
I think the main thing, if you're like, we're just speaking about gym, I think just getting in there, like getting yourself into the gym is already a thing. After that, like more time, I'm like, okay, I'm tired on my way to the gym. But when I get in there, I'm like, okay, that's gone now. Once you get into it, the mindset kind of shifts. But even if you're tired whilst you're in the gym, doing something is better than nothing. Because what I feel like people be like, oh, I'll just catch up on my workout tomorrow. But like people have to deep that day that you didn't work out, that's gone forever. Like you can't rewind time and do that now. You say you catch up on tomorrow, but that's another day in the future. You've missed a day. Like if you had like a tracker for all the days in your past that you've gone to, that's a day gone. That's an X there. So that whole like I'll catch up on it the day after. It's a it's a valid excuse because sometimes life just gets in the way. But having that mindset that like once that day is gone, it's gone forever. And at least doing something to fill in that like day's task, it will be better than nothing. But yeah, I went on a slight tangent, but my main piece of advice is just get in, like get into the gym. Just ignore everything, not ignore, but like be conscious of what your mind's saying, but just focus on getting into the gym or getting into like wherever you're training or doing like the first push-up or something, or even getting the music on. That sometimes helps me as well. Like when I'm on the way to the gym, I put on some good stuff that like gets me hyped. And then I'm like, okay, that kind of lackluster mentality kind of dissipates once I have something I'm listening to that actually motivates me. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm trying to say?
Right, I feel like people don't understand as well. Like, I mean, you know, the gym is each thing to everyone, but like for like a lot of people, it's just like therapy, man. It's it's therapy where you like better yourself at it as well. Like you can just go in and just forget about like all the shit going on, whatever. And you can just be with your most loyal companion, those cold iron plates, which will not leave you. So no matter what, do you know what I mean? But it's what it is.
Exactly.
They're literally just like comfort. Well, I mean, even though like, I'll go inside and just like punish myself, I'll be like just dying under the bar. But it's just it's something that you don't want to have in your life, where you can just go and just forget about everything for like an hour and just get on with the day as well after it.
I feel like it's probably one of the best like coping mechanisms that I've found. Like I'd rather go into the gym than do other things that would harm me in the long term, because it's just gonna feel worse afterwards. Like the things that like one thing I feel like the gym is like both instant gratification and delayed gratification, because the feeling you get after you get like a good pump and you're flexing and stuff, I feel like that's instant. But then of course you're setting yourself up for the future where you're like your physique is better. You get what I mean? So like that's why I'm more like this thing's probably gonna end soon, so it's probably gonna cut off. But that's why I'm more of like a proponent of getting into some sort of physical exercise, because it does help. There's science behind it as well. I've literally spoken about how it improves your endorphins, can help with like depressive symptoms, it helps with anxiety and stuff. Like it's like if you're not doing it, it's purely out of like laziness at this point, because like there's no negatives to it in my opinion. But yeah, I'm probably gonna end this one now and then we'll continue on the next one. That's like 30-something minutes, but that's calm.
Bosh. El Bosh.